So let's do a quiz on this topic. First, P sells a car by auction to Q, who is the highest bidder. Q offers to pay for the car by check and he is allowed to do so provided he signs a document stating that the property in the car would not pass to him until the amount of the check has been credited to the seller's account. The check is subsequently dishonored. P asks Q to return back the car as he has not become the owner of the car because the check given by him has been dishonored. Decide A. Yes, P's contention is justified. B. No, P's contention is not justified. C. Car should be re-auctioned by Q. D. None of these. Now what is happening here is P is selling a car by auction. Q becomes the highest bidder. So the car is sold to him. However, while making the payment, Q gives a check to P. So he is made to sign a document that until and unless the check is cleared, Q will not become the owner of the car. The property will not transfer to him. And what happens is, check gets dishonored. Now P asks Q to return the car back because the property has not passed to Q. This is what P is contending. This is what his contention is. Now, is the contention of P right? Is the contention of P wrong, not justified? Or the car should be re-auctioned by Q? D. None of these. Here, the contention of P is not justified. Let's check. That is the answer. Now, it is important here to understand that as soon as the auction process was over, the sale contract is formed there and the property in the car passes to Q, irrespective of the fact that later on he signs a document wherein he agrees that the property in the car does not pass to him. As soon as the auction is done, as soon as the hammer falls, the property gets transferred to Q. So once the property gets transferred, P's contention becomes unjustified. This brings me to one more subject in this, because whenever the bidders bid, it is an offer from their side, and when the auctioneer falls the hammer, it is the acceptance from his side. Okay. So when the bidders are invited for the bids, it becomes an invitation to an offer. So what the seller does is, seller gives an advertisement in the newspaper. He invites the bidders. Bidders come. This works as an invitation to offer. And when the bidders actually bid, they are giving the offer. And when the auctioneer falls the hammer, he accepts the offer. Once the offer is accepted, the contract is formed, the property transfers. The sale contract forms, the property gets transferred. But in this, until and unless the hammer is falled, the bidder can also take back his bid, because he has given an offer, and offer can always be revoked until and unless accepted. So till the time hammer does not fall, the bidder, if he has given the bid, he can take it back also. Okay. Next, the minimum price below which the auctioneer will not sell the goods. A is called as stock price, B reserve price, C upset price, D either reserve price or upset price. We've already done that. The minimum price is the upset price or the stock reserve price. So the answer is option D. Okay. Next, right to bid may be reserved: A expressly by seller, B expressly by buyer, C expressly by auctioneer, D all of these. Who may reserve the right to bid? It is the seller. Obviously, buyer will always bid He does not need to reserve this right. Auctioneer cannot reserve the right to bid because auctioneer is somebody who is inviting bids, so he cannot bid. So it is only the seller who can reserve the right to bid. Next, if in an auction sale, auctioneer mistakenly falls the hammer for price less than the reserve price, auctioneer is A. bound by auction, B. not bound by auction, C. both bound by auction and not bound by auction, D. liable for damages. If he falls the hammer by mistake, so will he be bound by auction or he'll not be bound by auction, or both, or liable for damages? The answer here would be not bound by auction, because it is a mistake. It will be a contract of mistake, so he will not be bound by auction. Next, an auctioneer is a seller, an unpaid seller, the agent governed by the law of agency, the principal of the seller. He is the agent of the seller, so he is an agent governed by the law of agency. Okay. Next, at an auction sale, X makes the highest bid for a flower vase. The auctioneer strikes the table with hammer on which the flower vase was kept, and it fell down and broke into several pieces. In this case, the loss will fall on A. the auctioneer, B. the bidder X, C. equally on X and auctioneer, D. none of the above. Now, what has happened is, auction sale was being done for a flower vase, and X gave the highest bid, on which the agent falled the hammer. Because of this, the flower vase also fell and broke. Now who will bear the loss? Will it be the auctioneer? Will it be the bidder? Will it be the bidder and auctioneer equally, or none of the above? Who will bear the loss? It will be the auctioneer, because it was his mistake. He should have been careful in falling the hammer. Next, right of general lien cannot be exercised by A. factor, B. banker, C. auctioneer, D. all of these. Right of general lien cannot be exercised by auctioneer. General lien means a lien wherein a lot of transactions are covered. A lot of transactions have been done, a lot of services have been given. Let's take a example of banker. Now you may go to the bank for various purposes, or you may have taken 2 or 3 loans, and you might also have kept security for these loans. Now if you do not pay, let's say you've taken 3 loans and you have paid a loan, but you have not paid the remaining 2, so the bank may keep the security that you have given for the loan which you have paid as lien for the other 2 loans also. This is called as a general lien, wherein the lien is exercised for some other transaction. But in case of auction, each single transaction is different. So an auctioneer cannot exercise general lien. Only for that transaction for which he has not got the commission, he can keep the goods on lien for that transaction only. If there is some other transaction, he cannot keep the goods of that transaction for lien for another transaction. Okay.